Greetings and salutations, test takers. This is the Series 7 Guru, aka Dean Tenney, and the Test Geek, aka Brian Lee, coming to you for our weekly community live stream. Let me get rid of our boom. There we are, live and in person.
Hey, you're not Dean Tenney, you're Santa Claus.
And let's see here. Whoop, let me go back to get my banners here. Tell us what series exam you're taking, where you're joining us from. We do this every Tuesday, 5:30 p Pacific time here in Las Vegas. We do Thursday premieres. This Thursday's premiere is a Series 7 practice exam. So if you're asking us questions, Brian and I, please put what exam you're taking, SIE, or S7 with a Q, so we can pick it out of the chat and know, chat with victorious test takers, chat with each other, but it makes it easier for us to kind of pick out, because otherwise we spend time like going, well, which exam are you taking? Because in this exam it is Tesla, so it's not a big deal if you can't. Now, in terms of our channel, the best free supplement you have for your paid study materials is my YouTube channel. And you just find your series, whatever your series is, SIE, for example, and then you'd see all the videos I have available for you in suggested watch order. It's a buffet. Take what you like, leave what you don't. The only series that has more than one playlist is Series 7. That has 6 separate playlists with different content in it. Now, I was explicating questions on Reddit and on Facebook, but I brought that home to the channel because people were telling me in training departments that they can't access Facebook and Reddit. So those have been moved, and I'll be doing them in the future on the channel. Now, in terms of paid supplements, we have a discount code for Kaplan. It's Guru10, and yours truly there. You see him in the screen. The Test Geek has been kind enough to offer a 20% discount on all his content, and that discount code is Guru20. For most of Brian's things, his video courses include a PDF and a practice file, which I just love. I think his practice files are a really strong correlation to the actual exam. But all in's $80 with the discount. The PDF with the quick class notes and final about 40. And then if you just want a PDF of the practice exams, which I think are, worth it. I think it's like $20 or something like that. Let's see. Let's got that. We got that. Oh, there's the Test Geek. All right. I think we're ready to start rolling here. So let's see our comments, see what we got going on. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you back as a victorious test taker. We always love our victorious test takers popping in. You don't have to take Brian's word for anything or my word for anything when we have victorious test takers in the house, particularly those test takers who have accomplished the hat trick. That's 3 successes, 3 victories in a row. Or the other way we sometimes say the trifecta. Or as Giant says, get 3 Ps, 3 passes. Series 7, New York City, baby. Yeah, that's the center of the financial universe, even on the test. I joke, if you don't think the world revolves around New York City, you could miss questions, particularly if you have an international perspective. 65. Brian and I were just talking about the 65, man, Zach. 65 is a bear, It is a bear. Series Santa, yeah, that's me. All right, got Brian's package, a good investment. I think it's a wonderful investment. 24, Candace, all right, General Securities Principal in the house. Felipe, all right, I'm so happy to hear you pass. You deserve it, my friend. You worked pretty hard, so I knew you, sometimes working hard doesn't, you don't make the P, but I knew you were putting in the effort. And you were dedicated, you were disciplined, you were organized. So I was expecting success from you. Series 66, remember the NASA dragons are a little bigger dragon than the other dragons. Wednesday, woo! Do you have any practice finals yet? What's the score on your practice finals?
Time for some practice finals.
Yeah, get an intellectual inventory going.
Yeah.
24, all right. General Securities Principal in the house from California. You are welcome, Felipe. That was something. Brian Kaplan is not capping my classes, so There was like 70 people. One day we hit 75, and
oh my goodness,
they gave me a moderator. We had some great moderators, Felipe. We had a guy named Brad Charles the one day, and then we had Cappy the next, and then the last day I was on my own. So, but I think we made it work. So here we go. Here's our first question. I have one that came in early too. I'll do it after we run out of questions. It was about the advantage. I'll do it here at some point, buying a put versus the short side. A trade of 325 shares may be settled by all the following deliveries except. I think of it as piles of 100, except for the odd lot. So that odd lot has to be delivered in one stack of 25. However you do that, 12, 13, and the rest of them pile. Now, I don't see your other answers here, but ideal delivery is A. And 5 for 5, the B works. I know what your C and D choice were.
Yeah.
So you got a 50-50 now. My guess is it's something like 2 for 1 for 160 and 1 for whatever the difference would be.
This question is from the 1947 version of the series.
Is it even still there? I haven't had anybody tell me this.
I haven't heard this. This is the round lot delivery rule.
Yeah, that's right. It's back office, uniform practice code stuff. The purpose of the rule is to get the securities going back into larger denominations. So somebody's going to send it to the transfer agent and get one certificate, and it's not the client. The client makes bad delivery. We say thank you very much. Nobody has called their QBank for these questions. I just explicated today a question where a guy was asked the dollar amount of the accrued interest. I haven't had anybody tell me they've had to do that in forever. Oh, here's our other choices. So here's how I do it. 90, 10, 100, 90, 10, 200, 90, 10, 300. Your problem, not mine. Here's the 25. You, the buying broker, get it fixed. 4 for 80. Nope. It's makeable, but it's not breakable. It is the D choice. The D choice. Now, remember, it has nothing to do with the customer. If I take D to the buying broker dealer, they're going to reject. They're going to refuse to settle for a valid reason under the Uniform Practice Code. So I think it's very unlikely, very low probability you're going to see that on the actual exam.
Was this for Series 7 or 24?
She didn't tell us, or he didn't tell us, whoever Papa Links didn't follow the instructions. I'm joking. I'm joking. I would think Series 7. What do you think, Brian?
You know what? If it's still out there in the universe,
I don't think it is. I really don't.
The 24 would probably.
It's one of my pet peeves that nobody wants to call their QBank for things that haven't showed up for years. Here's another one, Brian. I have all the math on the Series 7, and I have memory aid devices, and people will give me a hard time. Oh, you don't have Pro Golfers Don't Miss on there. I said, I don't have it on there because nobody's seen it in years. Or they'll say, oh, you don't have theoretical value or right trading ComRX. I go, nobody's seen it for years. I mean, I'm more than happy to explicate it on the channel when I do, but sometimes I think we might be feeding, the psychosis of things that haven't been tested. But nobody, again, wants to take away questions from their QBank. I get it. Yeah, my series, your series in 60 Minutes has been very, very popular, Felipe. So I'm glad you found that helpful. So I have a whole series of your series in 60 Minutes. It's for the night before or morning of. It's not a teaching tool. It's just to get you flowing. Some people like to use the rambling water streams. What are those noises you can make when you're trying to sleep? So I made a video that I think can put you in the right frame of mind, I hope, and give you a couple questions. I've had Felipe tell me that they think that 60-minute video, was the difference. Technical analysis, Daniel. I'm going to timestamp this. We're 8:40 in. I would definitely know the support and the resistance line. I would definitely know where a technical analyst would place a sell stop below the support line and a buy stop above the resistance line to establish a stock position. I would definitely know the head and shoulders charting pattern, which is a signal of a reversal. And that would be the end of the bull and beginning of the bear. And an inverted head and shoulders would be the opposite, the end of a bearish trend, the beginning of the bullish trend. I would know odd lot trading theory, which says the odd lotters are the dumb money and we should do the opposite. And short interest theory, which is counterintuitive, but says that short sellers can accelerate bullish trends because they got to buy to cover, and that when they buy to cover, it causes it to go up. I think, Daniel, that's pretty much everything you need to know about technical analysis. Do you think I missed anything there, Brian?
No.
I think that's it.
How many you get is a function of your draw.
Yeah, but I think that's it. Any chance we can go over the assumed interest rate? Certainly. Nope. Brian's saying no.
Not for 7. Not for 7.
It's pretty straightforward. The check goes up or down based on the air. So I always say, Mandy, let's timestamp this 10 minutes in.
I had a little chart in my Series 6 notes.
Do you?
For air and how it affects annuities, and they only affect it on the payout.
That's right. So on the payout, so I usually say to a client, Mandy, give me a call when you get your first check. And you call me, say, hey, Dean, I annuitized, got my first check. It's $1,000. I say, okay, so your check is going to go up or down or stay the same based on the air. That's what you got to be able to do, right? So I say the air is 4%. I always joke when I'm doing this in class, I'm not going to tell you because it just clouds your mind. Doesn't matter. Whatever the air is, yeah, the assumed interest rate, if we do better, it goes up. If we do less, it goes down. It remains the same. Again, I don't think it's a make or break, but Brian's point, it's only when you annuitize, it's based on that monthly check, right? The check the customer is getting is going to go up or down based on the air. I don't even think you need to know this, Mandy, but when you annuitize, we turn your accumulation units into annuity units. And so you no longer have these accumulation units. Let's see where we at in this thing. Well, thank you so much, Alan. I appreciate that. There you go. He's in the shower. Well, hope your phone is phone proof. Oh, I see. He's saying that, yeah, some people use the audio file only and do listen to. I want to make videos to pay more attention to that because I know people are doing that. Those Series 6 and 60 minutes or 7 or whatever it is, your exam are just talking head. There's no slides or anything. Series 7, there you go. Remember, I don't think, though, back office, uniform practice code, you have a support unit. So, don't get too into the weeds on the back office. There you go. There's a victorious test taker telling you what she encountered. There you go. So I'm laughing because would look at me. I can't decide, Alan. I'm thinking about putting Brian them in their own playlist. Your series in 60 minutes, just to put them all in one spot instead of in the various playlists. But you got to ask Felipe about a Totten Trust. That's the first I've ever heard of that. Have you ever?
Oh, no. Totten Trust shows up.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what was the question? Do you recall, Felipe, or what do you think it is, Brian?
I pretty much know what it is. Grandpa wants to leave money to his grandson, but wants access while alive.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
It's basically a POD or TOD. Totten Trust, all three of those things are exactly the same thing.
Okay. That's first I've heard of it.
I use it in my class every time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, Felipe, we didn't talk about it in our class, so good news, you still passed. That's the registration process, right? The IRAD, or Investment Registration Depository. Is that what that is, Brian?
Investment Advisor Registration Depository.
Yeah, so that would be, I guess I would be, Felipe, if you recall the question, maybe about where these form ADVs reside or something like that.
It's the equivalent to FINRA's CRD.
Can we go over option strategy where both legs are supported by stocks? The only one I can think of that, and the answer is not in the live stream, but I'll post 1324. We're at 1324. You go to the replay tomorrow, you'll find a video on that in the playlist 1324. However, I would just comment briefly. There is nowhere that both legs are supported by stocks. It's not going to be that. I mean, you're going to have either a long stock, and you're either going to buy a put for protection or sell the call for income, or a short stock where you're either going to be a smart bear or a dumb bear, where you're going to buy the stock or buy a call if you're a smart bear and write a put if you're a dumb bear. Well, there's a strategy that has both legs supported by the stocks.
May I interject?
Sure.
There's a name for it. I can't remember it. It was used during the .com bubble. Yes, I'm old.
Yeah.
Where they wrote a covered call on the upside to pay for the.
Oh, well, that's different. That's called a cashless caller, and I have a whole video on that. Okay. So a cashless caller, is where you sell the call to fund the purchase of the put. And if you can do that, with not any out of pocket, that's called a caller. And I have a video on that. I only have it because people asked about it based on test prep. People said, well, you haven't had one. I said, I don't, I finally made one. So I'll put that there for you.
You know what? I'm sorry, because that doesn't have two different stock positions.
Just one. Yeah, it's called a cashless caller. So I'll put that in the replay at 1324 for you. On my options playlist, there's 25 option videos. So, if it's there, you certainly can find it. I don't think it's a butterfly split, and even if it was, it's not on the 7. You are an investment advisor representative who works for a federally covered investment advisor with a principal office in state O. The investment advisor works out of office in state P. The answer is you have to register state P. Why not state O? Well, it's where you have a principal office. Do you register? The state administrator of your home office does know about you, right? Let me give Brian the whole board here.
Yeah, I get this. I bet you I get this email at least once a week.
Well, I send people to you, Brian. When it comes off on your Test Geek, I say, just call Brian. I don't have the time and inclination to go over with you.
For the IAR, they only have to register in the state in which they maintain an office. That's it. So if they're in state O or state P or in Florida, let's just say Florida, right? But the home office is in Boise, Idaho, someplace, right? They're not registering in Idaho. They're only registering in Florida.
But if they work at the home office in Boise, that's where they're going to register.
Only in the state in which they maintain an office.
There you go, Stephen. There you go. I forgot to put me back up there last time.
There you go.
7. So yeah, Mandy. As I said, check the timestamps. I'll put either the whole playlist there for you, or I'll put the caller playlist for you. Sounds like a caller. They did to me too on the taxation of them. Well, yeah, you need to know non-qualified versus tax sheltered. Alan, that's true. So a bunch of annuities, life insurance tax on them.
I memorized a few
process elimination
on the least tested.
Yeah, concepts. 66 is tough. I just finished a 2-hour tutoring session on 66.
Process of elimination to tell me what to focus on.
Yeah, you don't want to be spending time on things where there's no payoff. So I mean,
yeah,
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Yeah, so I think, Charlie, this came up. So the person who is it depends on whether it's a broker, dealer, or an investment advisor. And then it depends on, what the scenario is, right? So people get hung up on that quite a bit. You want to speak to that, Brian? Give us some more information. So, Charlie, tell us, who is the person? Is it a natural person of a broker dealer, or is it a natural person of an investment advisor? Please.
Yeah, we got to know broker dealer versus IA.
Yeah, you got to have more information for that.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Victoria's test taker is in the house. Zelda. Woohoo! Or Zelda's biggest fan. I don't know if that's Zelda or is Zelda
Zelda's biggest fan.
All right. We love that. On a practice exam. Okay, well, that's still good. It's not as good as it had been the real test.
Oh, okay. Still good. Yes.
Still good. Yep. Still good. You got us all excited. A poor man's TOD, as Kaplan said. Well, there you go.
That's right.
How much Dean reads the book. I mean, I'll have to tease Chuck that I didn't even know what the heck it was.
It's an old banker's term. They used to call it a poor man's trust account. The Totten Trust.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yep.
Even Dean learns new things on the live stream. Transferring a checking account, being able to change beneficiaries. Is that what that allows you to do? There you go. LinkedIn user. I don't know what the 66. All right. Cool. Well, straddles don't have stocks positions in them, right? So straddles long, 2 different type of options, or short. Straddles are pretty straightforward on the test. Can you identify it? This is 7. Can you calculate the break evens? Can you determine where it's profitable? When do you use it?
I've seen that practice question where you have a short straddle and 2 stock positions.
Really?
On practice on the QBank.
Well, yeah, particularly if you're using past perfect, or I had one the other day on Kaplan, was ridiculous. But no matter how complicated an option strategy gets, if you can make a T and you can track the money, you can reverse engineer break even or reverse engineer anything else you need by doing the offset. So that would be my recommendations. Thank you. Victorious test taker, Candace. That's pretty much what it is. It's function 3, options, munis, and suitability. So
what are the
24 is all over the place, Candace. It's not really that way, unfortunately. So that's one of the things that makes the 24 challenging, because it's I kind of think of Candace, the 24 is a barbell, a lot of minutia and then a lot of judgment with not a lot in between.
Yeah.
So
a lot of one-offs.
yeah. The other guy than Dean. I wanted to find your name.
The other guy than
Brian.
Dean?
Brian, the other guy. That's Brian Lee, the desk geek. Brian Lee, the desk geek. Well, you got to know, Mandy, the price, because a new margin account, remember, if the 300 shares are between $2,000 and $4,000, it's $2,000. If it's less than 2, you pay in full. So, send the QID to me, Mandy. Kaplan QIDs, you can just send me the QID and I make a video and I post it on the channel. So just send me, here is my email address. Just send me the Kaplan QID and I will make a video from that QID and then I'll post it on the channel for you. So let's see, now I lost track of where we're at. Oh, there we go. Well, do me a favor. So 350 calls at 1, that's 300. I think I did this one, Mandy, on the channel. I already did this one, I think. But send me the QID. We don't, I'm assuming that's 300 shares at 48. So if it's 300 shares at 48 times 50%, you get to use the 300. But the 300 is for the margin call, not the margin requirement, right? So I'm assuming it's 300 shares at 48. So 300 times 48 is 14.4, 50% of that. The answer is 7,200. Choice C, Mandy, is the right answer. Now, if it said margin call, you would subtract the premium, and the margin call would be 6,900. So if it said margin call, the answer is A. Since it says margin requirement, the answer is C. Oh, there we go. I was two things. They're okay. We took care of that for you, Mandy. Right. So there's the first part. There was the second part. Happy holidays, Felipe. Yeah, I haven't decided. I think, Brian, what are you going to join us next Tuesday? I know you said you're going dark here. And do we know?
50-50. I have a hockey game next Tuesday.
So okay. So it'll just be me if I'm here. I haven't decided. I think we'll keep it. My mom is retired. I take care of mom. I was telling her I was thinking about going dark. She goes, "Oh, there's people who look forward to it. You got to do it." So, maybe we'll suck it up and we'll stay doing our Tuesdays through the holidays. Nope, don't get any scores. Oh, that's right. Felipe is right. He said, Dean, you should have known that wasn't the real exam because she said 75 and you don't get a score. Well, Felipe, that's how old Brian and we go back to the days of scores. So, so Mandy, please don't do too many margins. You're only going to get 3 or 4 and it's not worth your time and energy. You could make better investments elsewhere in the content. That being said, debit by 0.75 is market value and maintenance long. So if I have a debit balance, I owe my brokerage firm $20,000. 20,000 divided by 0.75 is 26,666. Stock goes below that, I got a maintenance call due promptly. Credit by 1.3 is how far up a short account could go before you would have a maintenance problem. So my my credit register is 60,000. I divide that, and it will tell me how far it could go. It's not about the SMA. SMA is when it goes your way. That's excess equity. Yeah, I don't know why people don't listen to me. So I did say not to focus on it. So, where's Erica? She's probably mad at me. Erica sent me for the third time, sent me an email. Erica, if you're there, hey, I'm tough love guy. What can I tell you? And I said, this is the third time you've asked me and the third time I've answered that this is something you shouldn't be worried about. So, I think she thinks if she asked me a 4th time, somehow I'm going to say, oh, okay, you're right. You need to. Kudos, Patrick. Kudos. Triple Crown. There you go. Got them all done. Time to put those registrations to work. Woohoo.
Now go out and make some money.
Yeah, there you go. I got an oligopolistic market. Wow. I didn't know what that is. Well, that would be an oligopoly. It's like a monopoly, except there's more than one participant, right? So it would be like if Pepsi and Coke decided to do business together, right? It's not a monopoly because neither one of them controls the market, but together they do. That's crazy, though. Are you sure it wasn't just a wrong answer?
Oligopolistic.
Yeah, it's like an oligopoly.
Yeah, I know. I know. I can't pronounce it, but I know what it is. I've never heard that ever show up on any test.
I haven't either.
Wow.
I think it might be a distractor.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Okay, well, it's good debrief, Zelda. Good, Zelda's biggest fan. Can you charge a fee for a plan and commission on the trade? Yes, as long as you disclose it. As long as you disclose it. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. What type of options should you expect? What do you mean options? If you get options on the 66, it's going to be 3 or 4 of them. And usually people are prepared for the 7. So maybe a couple of futures questions, but laws and regs are certainly a bigger deal than options on 66.
Yeah.
And with regards to an IA being registered in a state where they have a home office, wouldn't they need to be registered in another state? No, the de minimis never applies to federally covered investment advisors or federally covered investment advisor reps. The de minimis is only for state covered investment advisors and state covered investment advisor reps. So that's why you want to be federally covered. So no. By the way, that's why it's so important when you're reading the question. Is it federally covered or state? It's one or the other, never both.
Again, is the IA registered in the state? Not if they're federally covered.
If the IA is registered in the state, then not federally covered, right? Okay. I have a very popular video called Who's Your Daddy? Yeah. It's either the SEC or the state. I do too. I think there's people who deserve their scores, who work hard and put in the effort, and I think they should be entitled to their score. But client moves to another state. When do they need to register? 30 days. 30 days. So, well, 2K or 50%. I'm not sure, Candace, of understanding that as a memory aid device. 2K or 50, whichever is greater.
Yeah, it's 2,000 or 100%.
Well, what I don't like that, though, is remember, if it's below 2K, where does that fit into that memory aid, right? If I buy 100 shares at 18, it's not 2K. It's 18.
And it's full price. That's what she's saying.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
She's saying 2,000 or 100%.
I like it. Okay, that will work. Yeah. That's stupid, but testable, by the way. Candace, you're going to see that again on your 24, and you're prepared. I don't know why that's on the 24. It's on the 9. It's on the 10. It's on the 7. It's on the SIE. It's everywhere. You are welcome, Bruce. You are welcome. I believe in going to the testing center. I'm a big believer on the testing center. I don't know why you heard you can't mark it for review. I don't believe in marking for review, even if you could, because your first answer is your best answer. I wouldn't change answers to let you know.
No calculator.
Yeah, and I've heard horror stories. I hear horror stories everywhere, but more horror stories doing it remotely. Yeah. So I know a lot of firms will make you go to the center, and they're doing you a favor. Best way to connect with Brian. Let me put that up there for you. Boom. There's Brian's email.
That's my email. Yeah.
Yeah, just send him an email and buy his stuff. Yeah, and here's his products.
That's where the video platform is. That's the email. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, Dean.
You're welcome. You're my pleasure, my friend. Let's see. Now I lost my place in there. I got to learn how to go to the banners and back to the chat and not lose my spot. Pass. There we go. What type? I will, Stephen. This is 2841 and the timestamp, and I will put a video and types of orders for you there on the replay. But for right now, what type of order you want? Expect the stock to go down? Well, it depends. Do you have the stock already? Because that's going to be different if you're trying to establish it. So if I have the stock already and I'm trying to stop a loss and I think it's going to go down, I'm going to put a sell stop. Or if I don't have the stock and I think I want to go short, I would place a sell stop to establish a short position. The 3 uses of stop, Stevens, are to stop a loss, protect a profit, or establish a stock position. Right? So I place a buy stop to protect a short stock position or to go long. Right? So those are, or protect a profit. So the stop, you wouldn't want to do the limit, because the limit, you may or may not get execution. And market is pretty straightforward. Immediate execution, best available price. You, Stephen, definitely need to know slobs over bliss, where we place those orders in relationship to the current market price. And so I will place a little video for you tomorrow that goes over all the orders and qualifiers.
Dean, I want to just reiterate one of the first things you said about this question. Yeah. It really can't be answered in this format unless you know whether the person owns the stock.
Yeah, that's the challenge of the live streams. The challenge for Brian and I is, it's not like we see what you're looking at, or, so it doesn't lend itself to everything. I think I did that, Asim. Did I do that already? I think we did that. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, they get the experimental questions. Woohoo! I like, Nick. We're not here to push products, but Brian on his 66 PDF thing that comes with it either separately or not. I really love it because you can actually put yourself in his little. What do you call it? Cheat sheet? Is that what you call it?
Definition of person's cheat sheet.
Yeah, I don't like he calls it a cheat sheet because I'd hate for you to be down an exam site and you leave it there or something and into your career. But he's got a really good little box thing where when I'm using it, Nick, with students, I have you put your name in the box that says natural person and walk it through. So that would be it. And then Kaplan also has some very good things called the quick sheets. And the quick sheets are laminated, and you can get those with my discount code for about $16. And that's a good thing to have as well. So Brian's PDF, he has an actual chart that I like. The quick sheets don't actually have like a chart or an exhibit, whatever you want to call that. Well, Mandy, my exams aren't diagnostic. So mine are based on debrief. So yeah, the reality, I don't just make up questions. They come from people who've taken the test and they say, hey, what do you think I could have done a better job? So, but that doesn't reflect the score you're going to get on the exam. So yes, they're real. Now, Brian's are diagnostic. What I mean by that is getting a 90 on my exam doesn't mean anything really. It just means you have now encountered things you're going to encounter on the test, which I think is a worthwhile thing. Now you take a Brian, I got a guy sitting on his Brian final. I said, sit on it because we're going to do it 2 days before the exam and we'll be able to get a real score on where you're at. So that is a diagnostic exam. Mine is not a diagnostic exam. So that's what I would tell you, Mandy, about my exams. Oh, Eli, I'm sorry. I didn't respond to your email this time. But are you the same, Eli, taking your Series 9, I think? Yeah, good. I already put up a Series 9 practice final. So it's up there on the channel right now. And you can hit pause and then hit play and see how you did. So that's up there now. So I got an answer posted on Reddit. I'll check it out. Putting a call spread and putting on a put. Yeah, you're using it's training consultants because I saw that. And here's why I don't know if I answered or not. But the phraseology, all those ones that you posting that were kind of on phraseology. So we don't really say putting on a spread. We either buy the spread or we sell the spread. So I wasn't really sure what they meant by putting on a spread. I mean, I'm assuming they meant debit, but it's not quite clear. And if I'm correct, and you're posting those other questions, man, woo! I mean, they're in the weeds. I mean, that's more like a 4, and even then, it's odd phraseology. So, I don't know what putting on means. But, if we assume it's a debit or credit, then I can certainly help you out. So could you review that again and either put it on the Reddit or send me another email? I did see your email about doing a 9 practice final together, but that's already on the channel. Let me give you my email. If you can just find that and tell me whether it's debit or credit, I'm more than happy to go through it with you. But I just couldn't tell what your vendor was trying to ask you is what the problem was. Right. Okay, let's see. Did we do that already? Yeah, we did that. We did that. 77. That's great. That's fantastic. So I would expect you're going to pass. Now, when you're testing, I hope you didn't burn that final too quickly because, I like people when they tell me they're buying stuff, I tell them to put that his practice final away and use that as kind of your last kind of green light to figure out where you're at. And it works pretty well that way. So hopefully you don't have 3 weeks. If you got a 77 on Brian's final, you should be testing. There you go. So Kaplan, now, those don't look like Kaplan questions. Yeah, I saw that. Like I said, I just wasn't sure with their answer set what it is. Study tips? I don't know. You got study tips for 63, Brian?
That definition of person's cheat sheet. Works for
Yeah.
the 63.
And Nicole, I would tell you 63 is one of the times where you really want to just do the Q bank. You want to max your Q bank, do as many questions as you can. As many questions as you can. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it, Eli, and see if I can make more sense of it. Yeah, we have some 63 videos out there. The Mighty 90 is really great. I have the 63 in 60 minutes, certainly. Here's one that came up before we started today. So let me go over this one we got. This came in before we started. When buying a listed put compared to selling the stock short, which of the following choices is not an advantage? Not an advantage.
Is that a 63 question?
This is a 7 question they're saying from their vendor. A, buying a put requires a smaller capital commitment. That is indeed true, right? If you want to short the stock, you're going to have to come up with 50% of the market value. But to buy the put, you only have to come up with a premium. So one reason people buy options is they're less of a capital commitment than buying the stock or selling the stock short. So that's one reason people do it. By the way, since you have lower out-of-pocket cost, you also have lower risk. B, so it's not A. Remember, they're saying not an advantage. A is an advantage. B, buying a put has a smaller dollar loss potential than selling the stock short. Indeed. Right? If you buy the put and you're wrong, you lose the premium. If you short the stock and you're wrong, you have unlimited loss potential. So B is true. C, the put has a time value beyond any intrinsic value that dissipates. No, that is a disadvantage because remember, when you short the stock, you only have to be right about one thing, direction down. When you buy the put, you got to be right about 3 things: direction down, how far down, you got to cover your out-of-pocket cost, and timing, right? So if I buy a 50 put for 6, my break even's 44. At expiration, the stock's 50. The following month, it goes to 20. I was right about 2 of the 3 things. I was right the stock went down. I was right how far it went down. But remember, my put expired because it went down the following month. I got to get the timing. So the timing is a disadvantage, having to be right about the timing. So the answer to that question is C, because the option dissipating is not good. I used to make my brokers write 1,000 times. Options are a wasting asset. Time value erodes. At expiration, an option contract is only worth its intrinsic value. If it has intrinsic value, it will be exercised. If it has no intrinsic value, it will expire worthless. And I tell my baby broker 999 more times. Options are wasting assets. So C is the answer. D, buying a put is not subject to regulation show. Regulation show is a locate requirement when selling short. And there is no locate requirement to buy a put. So the answer was C. That came in before we started the live stream. And so we took care of that for you. Don't know if you're still on the live stream, but how can you get Brian's material again? Listen, we're the point of my live streams is not to do commercials for my friend Brian Lee, the desk.
Thank you. And that's not what I'm here for.
He's not. There you go. There you go. So last commercial for Brian, even though it's a very worthwhile investment. So I tell people, there's a lot of people who buy supplements. My channel is free. But, I see a lot of people who are buying Achievable as a supplement. Hey, I just think it's a better investment to get the Kaplan Q Bank and Brian's product. With the Kaplan Q Bank and Brian, you come in at less than Achievable and you get like 3,600 questions and you get all of Brian's videos. So I just think it's a good deal. And then remember, you get the 20% discount. So I think it's like 80 for most of his stuff. I think he's got some stuff over $100. But by now, I know he's probably going to raise his prices at some point. All right, inflation, everybody's inflating. Let's see, now I got to go back to chat again. I always lose my spot. Did we do that? No, we did that one. We did that. We did that.
There you
go. Okay, so let's see.
One more. Yeah, there you go.
I test within 2 weeks, I believe. Well, I'm kind of worried about whether you don't know that or not.
I got that too.
Maybe,
I believe.
Maybe your firm is shielding your test date from you. I would tell you, make sure you find that out. You know? The Kaplan Mastery is definitely worthwhile, but it's hard. Yeah, you're going to pick up some points from the Mastery to the actual exam. So the Mastery is designed, Kaplan has a lot of corporate customers. And so the Mastery is designed to be able to tell that corporate customer, your student did this, and that means they're going to pass. Or your student didn't pass the Mastery, so they're at risk. So yeah, the Mastery's, I would say when we gave scores, we don't anymore, but when they were giving scores, people would pick up from the Kaplan Mastery the actual exam. It's the same content basically in the Mastery still. And people would pick up between 5 to 10 points from the Kaplan Mastery. So while taking the Pass Perfect, man, Pass Perfect is a bear. And I know, some vendors or some corporations that use Pass Perfect have locked there's a name for locked training or something where you can't go on to unit 18 till 19. Listen, I made over like $1,000 last week tutoring people on how to answer Past Perfect practice questions. I feel bad because they're never going to see them. So, I mean, you pay the premium for your tutoring. So if you're long the tutoring, we do whatever you want to do. But, I feel bad when it's stuff that you're not going to see on the actual exam. I just posted a tutoring replay. When people give me permission, sometimes they'll let me post their tutoring session in the tutoring replay list. And I just put this one up here recently, and it was an hour and a half doing hellacious margin questions from Past Perfect that I don't think you're ever going to see. So, but hey, by the way, I understand that sometimes you need to be able to do Past Perfect questions just to let your firm let you take the actual exam. So I get it. I get it that might be a reasonable investment. Okay, so let's see. Did I miss anybody? If I missed anybody, put it back in there. I think, Brian, we are current. I'm not sure what our expectations should be for these holiday versions of our live stream, but I think I answered everything for. Here's one more. Hold on.
Yeah, there's another one.
Different life annuities. I don't have any video on annuities because I just don't think it's a big enough topic for the exam. You are going to get questions on like variable annuities. I go over that when I explicate it. Do you have anything on life annuities, Brian?
Life annuities, is that
The variable annuities is what's testable. And in the context of variable annuities, I have videos that go over that, but they're in the subject area. So yeah, maybe you're asking this. This is very testable. When you annuitize, there are various choices you can make. And the annuity pays you during your life. Life insurance pays you when you're dead. I'm joking. It pays somebody, but it ain't you. And when you annuitize, they have a question that says, what would give the customer the largest monthly check? And that would be life only. So maybe that's what you're asking. But I don't think it's worthwhile to make a whole video on annuities personally. I mean, maybe I'll change my mind someday. But I do cover it in the context of explicating NASAA's test specifications. So if you go to my 66 playlist, and there's explications of the test specifications, and you can find the annuity one, and I do talk about it there. What tips would you give for Series 7 test prep? Well, make sure you stay focused on the function in the high areas, which is function 3, right? Investments, options, munis, mutual funds. I would certainly tell you that. And I'd certainly tell you to not wait too long to discover whether you need remediation. Some people wait too long to take a practice file, get a score, and see where they're at. I'm not saying taking a practice test to learn. I'm talking about taking a practice test to get intellectual inventory. So as a fake accountability partner today, I just was, when I say fake accountability partner, what I mean by that, RC, is that I can't actually fire you. But, as a fake accountability partner trying to hold you accountable for your execution of your own study plan, I'm working with a young lady right now. And I said, by next session, I expect you to have a score for me on a practice file. And, it doesn't matter what the score is, by the way, but we need to know whether she needs remediation or not. And you can't know that unless you got to embrace negative feedback. And I said, well, how many am I going to see? So, maybe once every 2 or 3 days, you do a practice file and see where you're at. You have any tips like that, Brian?
No.
Okay. Training consultants, I'm having a hard time interpreting the questions. Well, Jonathan, always say this, not only about training consultants questions at NASA. I think on NASA in general, those questions, if you can figure out what you're being asked it's a relatively easy exam. But I would be the first to stipulate figuring out what you're being asked can be a challenge. So I first say you should read the question once for context. Say, what do I think I'm being asked? Now, one thing I recommend is read the last sentence first, so you know what is, where it ends up if it's one of those paragraphs, for example. And then what I also say is read the full answer set. I had somebody I was working with, and she said, Dean, I now know what I'm being asked, but I can't figure out what the answers being offered are. So you want to continue to practice, drill, and rehearse, recognizing the question in its legalese, recognizing the answer sets, what's being offered to you, and then pulling the trigger. So that's part of practice, drilling, and rehearsing. And then, they're densely worded. So, you got to break them down into their component parts. And, this probably is the record for live streams. Might want to consider a paid supplement. Just saying. I really, truly believe, Jonathan, I'm not teasing, that I think training consultant's a little thin personally. So if there was a time to give thought to a paid supplement, whether it's a Kaplan Q Bank or our friend Brian's 66, I think it's no time to be frugal, I guess is what I would say. Oh, life insurance. There's a question about variable life insurance that people encounter every once in a while about hypothetical illustration on 12%. But if you tell me you missed the mark because of life insurance, I'm going to say I don't believe you.
On 66, there can be two
more than one?
Yeah, there's more than one.
Okay. What would you think?
The annuities, remember, they often have that index annuity.
Oh, that's definitely there, Max. So the equity indexed annuity is definitely there. And make sure that has no negative reset. That's just on the test. So what we mean by that is that's why it's not a security, because you can't go backwards. You only go forward. And they do have a question where the customer has a couple positive return periods, and then it goes back, and you got to realize there's no negative reset. So very testable. I can't imagine any draw you don't get asked that.
I do have a visual chart for the three main types of life insurance.
Are you going to put that on your whiteboard?
All my class notes, other drawings.
Yeah,
one's the whole life, one's the variable life.
There you go. There you go. So
that's all my supplements, all my class notes.
Okay, there you go. Is that what we call them? I got to get the right name for those things. Class notes. I think the 7 is more straightforward. I personally think the 7 has more of a narrative thread to it, is what I would say. Yeah. Hurts. It hurts, Mac. I know it hurts. Yeah, check that out. Brian has some free YouTube videos too. So there's a link to his YouTube channel on my channel as well. But you can Google it. And Brian has some great free stuff. Candace, I think you're taking if Candace, you're still with us. Brian has a video. I'm not making this up, on buy-ins and sellouts. And I sent it to a 24 person who was struggling. And I said, hey, check this out from my friend Brian. And she called me. I felt like it was a evangelical church service. She goes, that changed my life. I'm like, really? So, but there's a lot of free content from Brian as well on the YouTube channel, his YouTube channel. You need to sell variable annuities. You got to have a 6 or 7 and the proper life insurance. So 7 will work. 6 is mutual. 26 is supervising 6s. I feel like starting every 6 class by saying, why don't you get a 7? And every 26 class by saying, why don't you get a 24? There's Candace. So Candace, check out Brian's 24 on the buy-ins and sellouts. It's for free on YouTube. Like I say, it's people love it. I mean, who would think that somebody could find back office support unit stuff exciting and sexy?
I know. That changes their life.
Yeah, crazy. That's definitely there. So, John, this answer set is very, very testable. There's a question, John, on 65 and 66 about a married couple who have a family partnership. They're both general partners. And then the question asks, why would they want to dissolve the general partnership and reform as an LLC? And the answer would be liability. Now, the other thing that I always say it's an answer set, John, A, B, C, D, subchapter S, partnership, C Corp, whatever it happens to be. The other one that's very testable is the S Corp can only have 100 shareholders, and they can't be aliens. You don't mean Martians. And then you need to know the C Corp. The C Corp has no flow through. No flow through. And then last thing I would know is sole proprietorships are easy to form and easy to dissolve. So you won't get all those, but you'll get an answer set that says A, B, C, whatever the case may be. Looks like Brian's doing some board work. Let me give him some real estate.
Yeah, you just said exactly what I was writing. The questions on the business formations come down to either liability or possibly the taxation. How are the profits of the company taxed? The only real difference in that is the C Corp. And then, as Dean said, ease of formation, which is, of course, the sole prop, and the ease of liquidation.
Yeah. So definitely there, John. Definitely there.
Those are the questions they typically ask.
Yeah, definitely there. Now, I said somebody, so I guess I got to qualify that because this guy was, he passed. He called me. You told me I was going to see that, and I didn't see it. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So, most of the time, it shows up. Corporate. Well, there's only one corporate structure, and corporate. Remember, there's S corps and C corps, but S corps are more like partnerships. So, the C corp. Remember, no flow through. Well, part of that's age and wisdom.
Yeah, experience. Lots of experience going through the exams ourselves, talking to 10,000 people.
Yeah, well, Zelda, Zelda's biggest fan. I have not only, taught this stuff, I had my own broker-dealer. So for years, I was a placement agent for private equity and hedge funds and venture capital funds. I'd go find them partners for their things. So a little bit of both, right? A little bit of teaching this stuff and then practical application stuff. And then Brian has said we've been doing it a long time. It's a good thing.
I've been in both retail and institutional. I worked for a mutual fund company.
Worked for the Russell 2000 for a while. Weren't you with Russell for a while?
I was with Russell.
So yeah, I think between us, we did the math, Zelda. This could be we think it's a positive thing. I think being older is okay. I mean, particularly if you're trying to learn stuff. I mean, but I think what did we figure out? Was it some astronomical number of years, 60 years or 70 years or crazy?
So, yeah, like 70 years between the two of us. Yeah.
Well, solicit is the key word. I mean, if you're soliciting a mutual fund, you need a 6 or 7. There's no such thing as soliciting your friends for a mutual fund and not being affiliated with a BD if you're going to get paid. If you're just giving them advice, like buy a mutual fund, I would want more context there.
I would too. Yeah.
Solicit implies that you're getting paid. Exactly. That word in the context of an exam means you are getting paid. And let's rephrase this. There's no way to get paid soliciting mutual funds if you aren't affiliated with a BD.
Unless you work for the investment company.
Well, even then you
still need to be licensed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
At least a 6.
Yeah. Can you go over tax equivalent yield? Certainly. So what we're going to do here is we're either going to have a taxable yield. You got your whiteboard. We'll do this. We're coming up on the closing time, Brian. So I'm going to let Brian do it. You want me to give you the figures, Brian, or you want to do it?
5% muni, 30% tax bracket. What yield on the corporate bond would I have to equal the tax-free yield? 5 divided by the inverse of that is 100% minus 30% or 0.7. So you just divide those two things and you would come up with something like, 6.5%. That would be the corporate taxable yield.
Karina, I don't know what exam you're taking, but this is on every exam. It's on the
every
SAE,
exam,
it's on the 7, it's on the 65, it's on the 66, it's everywhere.
So muni yield divided by 100% minus the tax bracket equals the equivalent.
Yeah, that's called taxable equivalent yield. Yeah. And then go the other way, Karina, we would take the taxable yield and times it by 100% minus the tax bracket.
That would be corporate times 100% minus the tax bracket.
Yeah, very testable, very testable.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. What? Series 7, 65.
Yeah. Serena, this is 5423. And I have a whole video on this. So on the replay tomorrow at 5423, you will see a video on tax and tax-free equivalent yields. So a whole version. I mean, Brian's was great, but You know, if you want to spend 20 minutes watching a video, there you go, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. No, issuer, it's not a broker dealer. If it's not a business owner, it'd be an issuer. So again, I'd like context. I don't like this as a business owner. We don't have business owners on exams. We have issuers, not business owners. And we have an issuer that can offer its own shares directly. But I don't know who your vendor is, but I've never heard on the NASAA exam of a business owner offering shares. It's going to be an issuer. And then the issuer or the transaction, do you want to speak to that, Brian?
I think the context is missing. What does the issuer?
Yeah, it's not a business owner. It's an issuer. There's no definition of a business owner as a participant in a NASAA exam. So you want to think of the NASAA exam as a cast of characters. And then the cast members are issuers, broker-dealers, investment advisors, the administrator, the agent of a broker-dealer, the investment advisor rep. Those are the cast of characters. And there is no cast member known as business owner on the NASAA exam. It would go into a bucket called issuer. Now, in that bucket, there are exempt issuers and exempt transactions, right? And there is an exemption for an issuer who wants to sell their own shares as long as they're not getting commissions, and that would be the thing there. So, yeah. Recommendation for test taking, how many per day? I think study blocks is what I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Luis. I ask people to commit to study blocks of 45 minutes, an hour and a half with different activities in different subject areas. So 45 minutes, hour and a half, 3 a day, 4 a day. The young lady I'm working with now has committed to 3 study blocks of an hour and a half. Max, you can't do this stuff 9 hours a day. And then she's going to rotate her subject area and her activity. So, you know, one block might be reading, one might be doing questions, one might be watching videos, and rotate them around. Now, obviously, that's going to be different if you're a full-time studier versus being a part-time studier. If you're a part-time studier, maybe you can only do one study block in the morning or the evening, and you have to, you know, load up on the weekends, so to speak.
There's so many variables. If I'm married and have a 2-year-old child at home, oh my goodness, right? And I work 8 hours a day.
Yeah. No, I had a single mom. She passed, but boy, she was studying before she put the kids to school, you know, which was me. She did that like dark 30. When can a CEO? There's nothing about a CEO, and maybe be deferred comp. There's no distinction about a CEO withdrawing funds from a retirement account. It's the same for everybody in terms of withdrawing. You know, there's no. I don't think it matters whether you're the CEO. SIE, Karina, well, yeah, you're going to see that for sure. Price divided by earnings. If you can't decide what to do on any exam, divide. And if you can't decide what to divide, take the first number divided by the second number. That takes care of most of the math. So PE ratio. Ratio always means division. So you're going to take the price of the stock. You're going to divide by the earnings. I'll give you an example. Stock's $48 a share. The earnings per share is 4. So it has earnings per share of 4 and it's 48. What is the PE? And you would tell me it's 12. PE ratio would be 12. That is very testable. Now, if you're taking a 65 or 66, there's 2 styles of investing. And a growth person would be willing to pay a higher PE, and a value person would want a lower PE. Hey, well, okay. I can tell you many stories about Kobe. We're almost done, so I'll tell you a Kobe story. My girlfriend at the time would always treat me like a 3-year-old. And so, you know, she'd always give me like a force close. Won't you want to do this, right? I'm like, oh, man, this makes me want to fight by nature. Anyways, we're in Newport Beach, very fancy restaurant. And the maitre d' goes to seat us. And before he can even seat us, she goes, could we sit over there? And I go, why are you always trying to make people go places or do things that they may not want to do? And just about when I went about ready to lose it with her, we sit down. She goes, Dean, look who's next to us. It was Kobe and Vanessa, and they were having dinner at the same place. And anyways, you know, I try not to get too much in this space. I said, hey, Kobe, I said, man, I love your game. I'm a big fan. I said, I'm a Warrior season ticket holder. He goes, well, I don't meet many Warrior fans. This was back in the day when we sucked. I said, well, you know, the reason you don't meet many Warrior fans is because, unlike me, people will sell their tickets at 4-time face when you come to town to, you know, subsidize their tickets. But not me. I like to watch you kick our butt. And then I went back. I was at the Warriors, and I said, hey, I was chatting up Kobe. And then they said, you were talking to Kobe like he's the enemy or something. I go, listen, it's a fine dining place. I'm not going to get into a, you know, like a bar. So that's one Kobe story. And then the old days, the Warriors and Lakers would play in Hawaii preseason. And I would go every year to that. And it'd be fun because you'd be hanging out with the players and doing all kinds of things. So the other Kobe story real quick, and then we'll call it quits. So I was talking, I said to Kobe, I said, yeah, I hear you wanted to borrow Dr. Buss's plane to fly to Colorado. Kobe was having some troubles in Colorado. And then you didn't want the G3 and, you wanted to use the G5. And I said, Kobe, I don't even know what the difference is between a G3 and a G5. I mean, somebody offered me a private jet. I'd say, well, thank you very much. He said, well, Dean, you'd be surprised, actually. He started giving me the different specifications of a G3 versus a G5. I mean, that's living large.
Those are Gulfstreams, right?
Yeah, Gulfstreams, private jets. Monday, last advice, Rosario. Do Brian's practice test if you have it.
Yeah, practice files.
Do practice files. All right, so we're at our 6:30 quit time. So thank you very much. Anybody, last thing you got? If I didn't get you, last chance. 10, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure you tell everybody about our Tuesday live stream. Check the channel. We got a video release on Thursday. And we will see you next Tuesday. I will be here. Brian may or may not. He may be at the hockey game, but I think we can make it without him. So we'll try. If not, we'll call him at the hockey game. Say, hey, get on the live feed on your smartphone.
I don't think Kobe's going to be showing up at the hockey game, though.
Oh, well, no. Sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Sad. It's just, every once in a while I see something, I miss him still. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, welcome everybody. Donata. All right. See you next week. Bye-bye.